Conspiracy theories versus reality creation. In many ways, conspiracy theories are the opposite of reality creation. Because in conspiracies, you're a victim. Okay, there's a conspiracy, and then there's a victim of that conspiracy theory, which is usually the normal human populace. So a lot of this conspiracy stuff, as fascinating and interesting as it is to many people, is kind of bad vibe. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you shouldn't know about conspiracies. Most of the conspiracies that people write about are essentially true, and they are being covered up. And I don't want to be accused of being part of the cover-up by telling you that too much focus on the nefarious is itself nefarious. I said too much. There's too little focus on the nefarious, which is naive and stupid, and there's too much focus on it, which kind of leads to a lot of bitching, complaining, and whining. When you know people are stuck in this conspiracy thing when they're spending day in, day out, whining and whining about all the corruption and all the evil going on. And it goes on and on. There's no end to the evil, so they can whine and complain their entire life. And there's no end to the evil because of the way this realm was set up as a balance of negative and positive. Conspiracy theories are more popular than ever because now even the dumb people are starting to notice that not all is as it seems. The smart people knew it all along. They've been saying it for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, throughout all of history actually, but now even the normies, it's gone mainstream. The current two most popular presidential candidates are conspiracy theorists. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the top Democratic presidential candidate, said that the CIA killed John F. Kennedy. That used to be called a conspiracy theory. Now it's mainstream. And the other presidential candidate, Donald Trump, believes that there's a corrupt deep state, unelected by the people, who hate the people. And that too is essentially true. These things are true. I'm just saying that conspiracy theories have gone mainstream. But beyond that, the world itself is a conspiracy in a way because there's a higher realm you're not being told about. There's this place, the religion's called heaven, that's entirely real, entirely true. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've written about it. I've actually seen it several times. So it's entirely real to me. It's experientially real. It's not something I believe or have faith in. It's something that I've been to. It's just about as real as any country I've traveled to. And you're in amnesia about it and not being told about it, and there's all this secrecy around it. And even the people claiming to represent heaven are involved in all kinds of corruption and darkness. All this darkness and secrecy represents the collective subconscious. So, in a way, conspiracy theorists have a point, and they're trying to take this subconscious and bring it to light. It's very important to bring it all to light. Every lie will eventually come to light. And it takes a lot of money and funding and effort to keep suppressing the truth about various topics. But once something is brought to light, and you know this from your personal experience, you'll want to eventually pivot to the stuff you prefer instead. And that's the problem with conspiracy theorists. They stick with the problem for the rest of their life. So they bring it to light, and I'm like, great, good stuff. But then next week, they're bringing it to light again. And the week after that, they're still bringing it to light. And 1 year later, 10 years later, 20 years later, that's all they do. They bring it to light. What about pivoting to the kind of society and system and justice and situation we prefer? How about making people aware and teaching them how things can work better, be done better? And to me, that's probably intentional. It's probably part of the conspiracy. So I'm saying that many conspiracy theorists are probably part of the conspiracy, because they're not helping humanity pivot to the preferable, to the empowerment. As a reality creator, you shouldn't get into victim thinking, because you've been equipped with the power to create your own preferred reality in spite of the bad guys, in spite of the evil, in spite of having been thrown down to earth and forgetting who you were before. You're still equipped with the power you've been given by your Creator. And there's nothing in the world that can take that away from you, ever. You still have the power to ascend. Your word still has power. Your thought has power. Your action has power. Your spending habits have power. Your writings have power. What you contribute to has power. What you retrieve attention from has power. And the less of a subconscious you have, the less stuff you're suppressing into the subconscious, the less you're inauthentic about, the greater your power and the higher your awareness. So you can acknowledge the state of the human, you can acknowledge the evil of worldly things, but it pays off to still stay optimistic, strong, and loving. It doesn't make any sense to me to get angry, because anger disempowers you. How are you going to defeat the so-called conspiracy in a state of anger, in a disempowered state, in a victim state? The most famous conspiracy theorists are really part of the same conspiracy, because they provide no message of empowerment. I've shown previously that some of these very famous conspiracy theorists are actually CIA operatives. This I've documented. I've written about it. I've shown it. It's not even hidden. Look at how many conspiracy books and websites and videos talk about evil beings or evil people or reptilians or whatever running the planet, without providing specific action steps and steps of combat to transcend or defeat the perceived enemies. How little is written about taking back the planet. This is why throughout my long, beautiful life, I've continually provided the tools and the knowledge that make you feel stronger, make you feel better, make you feel healthier, more courageous, have more peace of mind, more clarity, more competence than before. Because if anything, that's what's going to get you out of the matrix, not being outraged by corruption. That's not going to get you anywhere. Anger, fear, shame, guilt, sadness, grief doesn't get you anywhere. Exposing corruption without actually doing anything is disempowering. I always ask this question to people who complain a lot. I say, what are you going to do about it? Because if they're not going to do anything about it, I know that they don't even want to. They actually want to bitch and complain. They want to perceive themselves as victim. If you only expose corruption without doing any of it, it creates an apathy, a feeling of overwhelming pointlessness and hopelessness. They do whatever they want. There's nothing we can do about it, but there's so much you can do about it. There's something you don't know about me. I've been involved in real-life lawsuits in which I personally did something about corruption, about evil. That's why you don't hear me complaining about it that much, because I actually do something about it and still am. I don't recommend you follow any conspiracy theorist that doesn't at the same time say that you are a powerful and divinely created being, and that with only a little bit of attention and love, you could easily take back this planet. Don't follow a conspiracy theorist that doesn't explain to you the steps you need to take it back. Don't follow anyone who does not put your attention on things that empower you directly. Billions are spent each year to dumb you down and to program you. And the conspiracy theorists are absolutely right about that. I'm not denying it. They spend billions to dumb you down. And the reason it's so expensive is because you're so powerful. That's the proof that you're powerful. The fact that it's so expensive to dumb you down and keep you docile and asleep with medication and more medication. Especially here in America, I'm surprised how medicated people are. And as a consequence of being that medicated, many people I meet here are actually uncoachable. You see, I'm a coach. I coach people. But those who are heavily medicated are really uncoachable. They're dumbed down to a level you can't even coach them anymore. But even those can come back up, not necessarily through my coaching, but through you pick him up at another level, as I say in levels of energy, through therapy, for example, or special care, special treatment, or through nutritional changes, or simply through getting off the drugs that make him that way in the first place. You see, I'm acknowledging a drug conspiracy, one of the many conspiracies happening. There's a lot. I acknowledge all of them, okay? The drug conspiracy, the pharmaceutical conspiracy. You know that me just saying that could get this video deleted and get me a warning on a certain famous video platform? That's proof right there that the most of these conspiracies are actually real. Because if that weren't the truth, then you wouldn't have to censor it. You know, there's a lot of stuff they don't censor simply because it's not true, and it's easy to refute. But if it's being heavily censored, you know it's likely true. So that's proof of how powerful you are. The amount of time, attention, and money invested in controlling you and dumbing you down through your nutrition, through your forms of entertainment, which is actually programming of the mind, through the so-called health industry, which is anything but healthy. The health industry, it's total madness. And unfortunately, my country, America, exports these falsehoods all over the world. But I'll tell you what, did you know that snakes are scared of humans? Snakes are terrified of humans. And if they can, they'll run away from you. They'll be gone before you even come close. Before you even notice them, they'll have zipped away. I experience this a lot here where I live in Florida because there are a lot of snakes. And I see them sometimes. They just zip away when they see me. Snakes are terrified of humans. That is good news. When snakes bite, it's usually because they see no other way out. But if they can run, they'll run. And a conspiracy theorist often won't tell you that the evil people are actually weak and they're afraid of you. They are afraid of you. And they won't tell you that because it reduces the money you'll spend on their alarmism. But I'm telling you that the bad guys are dumb and scared. That's why they're bad. If they were full of love, if they were void of any fear, they wouldn't be bad, would they? So they need healing more than anyone. So if you're going to be into that, the evil needs to be exposed with an understanding that evil requires healing, that evil is afraid of you, that you're much stronger than it, and that we can do it. We can clean it up. And we have many times throughout history. Yes, indeed, nothing is as it seems. You should question official narratives. You should expose evil. But it's not the only thing you should be doing, because there's a lot of good in the world. And while I'm no great fan of Nietzsche, I'll leave you with something very true he said. Whoever fights monsters should see that in the process, he does not become a monster. And that is conspiracy theories versus reality creation.